Okay, so here we are this afternoon for another in the series of the big interview. It's double bubble today. We have the two Js, AJ and PJ, aka Alison Jackson and Peter Jones, which is the dynamic duo running 19. Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Looking forward to this?
Yeah.
So, yes, the dynamic duo that runs 19, which in itself is a hugely dynamic company, and its growth has been exciting, magnificent. And now you've changed it all. What's happened? What's happened in the last couple of weeks? Lots.
Alison, why don't you go from the top? Why don't you go from the top and actually clear up the confusion between CEO and Group CEO?
So we have recently announced that I've become CEO of the business and Peter is Group CEO, which sounds very dramatic. In actual fact, no change. I've been running the business on a day-to-day basis since we formed the business. We've both got really sharp elbows, so we know our lanes. I do the day-to-day business. Peter focuses on M&A, comms, culture, external relationships, and nothing's really changed other than we've got a number of other people below us stepping up because we've grown from a cupboard in 2019 to a business of over 80 million revenue, and John, Peter, myself can't run it on our own, and so I've stepped up to be CEO, and Tristan and Mike are going to be group managing directors. Mary's US president. We've now got a new COO, David Holden, and Carly, who's John Lacey's number 2, is now finance director. So in the day-to-day running, we're both in our lanes with the sharp elbows, and we know when we've got to be in the same lane together.
So yeah, you started in a cupboard, that's right, and your rise has been exponential. What'd you put that down to?
We started in a cupboard, and actually you came to the opening of that cupboard, so Jules, about 15 years ago. So cupboard 1.0 was about 15 years ago when we worked opposite each other. I could see you through the window. And then cupboard 2.0 is when Phoenix invested back in 2018. From that cupboard, we've grown from like a dozen scallywags, the dirty dozen, into say 315 people. And that is definitely down to culture. So the first year, I remember I used to stand up and tell everyone we're growing a £100 million business. Let's work back from that. And the CEO coach very quickly said, stop talking about numbers, because that just scares everyone, and focus on culture. And if you focus on culture, then the rest will work itself out. And I remember I came up with the values. And I came in and said, right, here's our culture, here's our values. And Alison's like, yeah, not sure it works like that. It's like, well, why not? And she said, well, have you ever thought about asking our people what they want? So and that's where I very first started to learn the nuances of leadership is consultative.
Is it about asking the people, or is it about setting a culture and then finding the right people to fit that?
A bit of both. So we basically churned most of the people who were in the original cupboard. And so we have a few people from the original Dirty Dozen that are still with us, but most of them left. We can talk about culture. It's quite easy if you're creating something from scratch. So if you think we had the Dirty Dozen, I came in, we eventually realised the most important thing in the first year was to get a finance CFO, John Lacey, because it's all over the place. But then you can start to pick the people that you want to work with. So if you look at all our leadership team, there's some kind of route back to myself or Peter, because there were people that we had handpicked. And actually we did most of the culture work during COVID, and got someone in to help us. And so we did say, look, these are the values we think, and we had about 7 to start with, and no one could remember 7 because we're quite simple. Right. So we then reverted to 4 values. And actually it is, I think people think he's mad posting every day about culture, but it makes a real difference. And I think when you walk in this building, you can feel it.
Your 4 values then, what are they?
Go on, Alison.
Are you going to show me them?
I'll hold them up as Alison goes.
Go on then. Oh, you're going to hold them up?
Our values are caddy, so they are kind, agile, driven, and inclusive. Anyone can do it. You can stick it on the wall and go, we've got a culture. But you've got to live it every day, and you've got to say, what behaviours do you want and what behaviours don't you want?
Does it define your behaviour now?
Yeah, it tells. If someone comes in here and they're not kind, agile, driven, or inclusive, it's really easy to say.
They have to be all 4?
Yeah, it's not for you. And 19 is not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Because, I've worked in businesses where you can, particularly big corporates, you don't have to be driven or agile because you pay quite a lot of money to sit there, and you can sit with your slippers on for a long time. And there might be periods of my life where I've been in those environments. But yeah, you have to be all four, and you have to behave like all four. Yeah.
It's good that you know that it's not for everyone. We used to have this expression, still do actually, that mass media is for anyone, but not for everyone.
We say in some exit processes, it's not that you're not right for 19, it's just 19 is not right for you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, gosh.
And you know, Jules, it's very easy with culture to go away on a couple of days away with your leadership team, do this like really fancy, expensive course where you come out of it with, there's the 4 core values. And you get back to HQ and you put them all over the place, or all over the wall, and you do the coasters, and then that's it. And then the management team quite often say to the people, right, here's our values, because we've been away on this course, and there's that. The hard part is living it. And living it every day, and this is where we got the most amazing Ruth Creeley is head of culture. She's the glue. And with her culture team is making sure that every single day we embed it and live it. A bit like parenting. You just got to remind your kids every day, there's the framework, guys. That's what we are. Values is one thing, the behaviours that underpin it is really a different thing. So we've actually got our passport, we're in kind, because everyone will say they're kind, right? Just make a cup of tea, well that makes me kind. But what does kind actually mean?
What does it mean?
What does it mean? It just means like not letting don't leave a person down, don't go for the glory. We are a team, you help out, you step in.
But you love a bit of glory.
We're a team. Yeah.
But kindness might also mean this is not for you. I'll help you leave. I brought some sweets back from a holiday in the kitchen. That's not, anyone can say they're kind, But sometimes you've got to.
Cool to be kind?
Yeah. Yeah, or just honest.
Yeah. And then also it's interesting because there's different interpretations of the values in different parts of the world. It's like we've got an international culture, but it's also local in each region. So we've got Hong Kong office, we've got Singapore, Boston. And actually so the 4 core values stand anywhere in the world, but the interpretation of how people live those values may be a little different in Hong Kong than it is here.
Not the same as being kind over there, it's different.
A different type of kind. Yeah, a different interpretation of it. So a bit like that HSBC advert. Is it an international bank but local in every country? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's where we're heading. So Ruth and Nick, our head of comms, are doing a tour at the moment of Hong Kong and Singapore to sit down with the teams and go through the values to talk about what it means to them.
If you put that at the forefront, you really do have to live and breathe it, unlike HSBC, for example. So tell us other ways you do that then. Ruth Creeley obviously handles that. But I mean, would people know that if I asked every employee that came in, they'd be, yeah, that's what we are, that's how we behave?
I think now, yeah. I think we have monthly Caddy Awards. We use it through interviewing process, so we'll ask people, examples of how they're agile, inclusive, kindness, etc. As part of the interview process. We'll use it as part of, someone's, not quite a disciplinary, but if you're having a performance conversation, we'll use it in that. So I think I would be staggered nowadays. Now, when we had 7, we once had a Christmas party and said, what are our values? And hardly anyone could remember the 7.
Let's just do a little bit of background on you two, because in the nicest way possible, you've both been around the block a bit, and you've worked in different cultures, for example, very different cultures.
I did French and Spanish degree, and I think you and I have spoken about how many women in the events industry have got languages degrees. It is a thing. And worked for an exhibition company in France, came back, no clue what to do, saw an ad for Montgomery Exhibitions, fell into the most wonderful company, because actually their culture was, it may not have been particularly commercial at the time, but I saw the world, before I was 30, I'd seen the world, and I was event director, because they trusted, they had a wonderful culture where they just let you ever go anything. And I was running £10 million portfolio at the age of 28, which
Amazing.
I don't think that would happen to many people today. Was I doing it brilliantly? No, I was a complete disaster. But then I made myself leave because we did a joint venture with Fresh RM, and I became managing director. It's really great, age 30, whatever. But I thought, if I don't get out of here, I will be taken out in a coffin. And so I cried. Right. I cried and resigned because IR conferences had offered me a lot of money to go to conferences, and Sandy said, well, you must go. And I said, I don't really want to go. But it was the best thing I ever did, because I probably would still be there, because there was no reason to leave, because it was wonderful. Yeah. Went out of the frying pan to the most awful culture ever.
Really?
Well, not very, very driven.
Were they commercial conferences as well?
Yeah, it was all
yeah.
B2B, at a time run by Irvin Laidlaw, who would send memos about this company will pay for you to have milk in your tea, but not cereal. And they say you look after the pennies and the pounds look after themselves. So when he sold for several hundreds of millions of pounds years later, but it was the best 2.5 years of my life because I learned how to buy and sell events, bought Vitafoods, and then Irvin fell out of events and went more into training. Then I did a decade at E.M.I.C.E. So anyone who's got a calculator can probably work out how old I am. And then had a baby quite later on in life. Didn't want to work full time, bombed around, had a not particularly fun time at UBM, my least favourite experience, really? Career low for me, too corporate. I was in the wilderness and did a contract for your friend Ruth Carter that involved looking for things that might be for sale. And I don't think I'd even heard of you actually. If I had, it hadn't been good. And rang up Peter and said, do you want to sell your business? And that's how we met. Fantastic. And then investing in the cupboard was a punt.
So UBM is such a shame because obviously UBM was started out as Blenheim, and Blenheim's culture was phenomenal in the late 80s. And
I was there for the last month of Blenheim, and before that I worked at E.M.I.C.E. Then went across to exhibitions. Blenheim became Miller Freeman. It's just becoming Miller Freeman as I joined, and there's this avalanche of people leaving. So I probably did about 3 or 4 years at Miller Freeman. Then when I went across to Tarsus Group, when it was a house in Bromley.
Yes, that's right. Of course you were, yeah.
And I remember arriving on day one and just thinking, what have I done? It's literally a effing house in Southlands Road in Bromley. And I come from Blenheim, Miller Freeman, this huge, beautiful building in Chiswick. And I remember the postman just reassuring me, no, that definitely is Tarsus Group PLC.
Did that really reassure you though? Or it just confirmed your fears?
I just conned into it in a cafe in Chiswick that this is Neville Book's next big thing, and you're going to be in ground up, and I literally was. I was at a desk
in the lounge
next to Andrew.
Andy Stewart.
And Andy Stewart in the lounge. Doug Emsley had a bedroom upstairs. We didn't leave in very good terms. I got a letter from Doug, recorded delivery on Saturday morning, says he's going to take me to the police.
For what?
Yes, going to take you to the police. I'm going to get a criminal record. He accused me of stealing the data of Tarsus, which I never did.
So, now, hold on a minute. So Doug accused you. He did. Doug was going to take you to the police.
Yeah, I got a letter in a brown, I think so, after Tarsus. I tried a brief stint as a currency broker. Did you? Yeah, so an FX dealer, and then realised I can't add up, which is tough, pretty essential. Yeah. So I got fired. And then just came back to the world of events.
But then what was that stuff with Andrew Reid? Because you were all upset about that. What's all that about?
Oh, yeah. So I came back to the world of events. And whilst I was trying to work out what I was going to do, I did a temporary contract. So I went to work for Andrew Reid. And I must admit, it's the most elegant firing I've ever received.
Beautiful.
So I was 3 months at William Reid. That really, thought I was a cocky wolf of Wall Street, marching up and down on the phone, closing deals. It's alienating everyone in the office.
I can see it now, can you?
So doing the business, brilliant. Fax machine, Jules, ringing off the hook, I was doing the deal.
That's it, doing the deals.
Doing the deals. You remember that? The ringtone was always different. You knew it was a deal coming through. Everyone runs to the fax machine. There's another one of my food and drink expo stands. Yes, thank you very much. And really just pissed everyone off. And then one Friday, Andrew invited me into his office at about 4:30 p.m. He said, can we have a cup of tea, Peter? He's so elegant, isn't he, Andrew? And he said, would you mind awfully if you just, would perhaps not come back on Monday? What do you mean not come back on Monday? And he said, just if you would just not to come back, possibly at all. I went, are you firing me? And he went, well, no. He said, I'm just asking if you wouldn't mind today's today.
So did you ask him why?
In the end, one of the other sales guys that had a really big problem with me, him and I nearly had a set a proper physical fight. In the middle of the office by the photocopier. It was just a little bit of a shirt
next
grab.
to the fax machine.
Near the fax machine. A shirt grab, and apparently that upset everyone else in the...
That's hilarious. So you two obviously are very different, but a great partnership. Is that because you're so different?
Yeah, and I think it works really well. We had when we started the business, we both had to go to an assessment company to be assessed. Well, I don't know, I might not have done it, but it's a day where you have to go and do an English test, a maths test, a case studies on what we do in this scenario, and then a really in-depth personality test.
Seriously?
Yeah. So Peter had done his first, and I went several days later, and I was presenting what I would do in this business case, where there's a guy in the office who was a real jerk. He was rude to everybody. He was rude to the receptionist. He was rude to all his colleagues, but he was the highest billing salesperson. That's effectively what would I do. And I had like 20 minutes to then present how I would handle it. And as I'm presenting, this guy literally starts laughing. And I'm like, I was quite nervous. And he's trying like to control, his shoulders are going up and down. So I said, I'm really sorry, you're putting me off. Can you just, why are you laughing? He said, because your answer is completely different to Peter Jones's. So in a nutshell, I was firing him. But I was basically doing a nice process and just saying, look, we can't have bullies in the workplace. You know, you might be the highest biller, but you are a jerk. Whereas in Peter's scenario, he'd created a new division, given him a pay rise, and just separated him and brought in a new receptionist. And so when we added that and all the personality tests together, the guy Darren, he overlaid Peter's personality chart on mine and said, that's the perfect combination.
Oh, well, there you go. So now, would you fire him now?
Yeah, having worked with Alison for 6 years. And
do you know what though? That is such a good scenario to put to people, because as you grow small businesses, I think we've all been in that position where you have that person, and it's so difficult because you need the money, you need the billings, but you are right. In the end, they're not worth.
Those people that are bringing in the money, but they're like a toxic apple in a basket. And the problem is, Jules, is when you're smaller. So Alison and I come from very different backgrounds. So I'm wired, founder, entrepreneur, building a business from scratch on a yogurt pot, begging, stealing, borrowing, doing illegal shit, right, to get a business up going. And when you've got somebody, and I've had a few that work for me that are dickheads, but they're bringing in the money in, sometimes there just is no choice, because you've just got to somehow at the end of the month cover the payroll, and it's a rock and a hard place. Whereas Alison's obviously come from a very much, a bigger, more considered organisational background where you've got the ability, if you've got a jerk in a business, get them out. And that is here today. We started off talking about kindness, tough conversations. 19 is not right for you. You're going to need to go, but we will help you to be very kind on your way out.
But let me ask you this then. It is the right decision, and I think we've all been through the mill enough times.
6 years later.
No, it is the right decision, but is it the right decision when there's 7 of you and you're trying to, like you said, fight and scrap for your life, and one of them's a jerk, and he's a jerk?
I think you're right. If she's a jerk when there's 7 of you. And I think the point of this assessment centre was he's come from a business where there's a dirty dozen. We're going to have to manage a bigger business. Yeah. I think that was the whole point. But yeah, I mean, if you're paying salaries on your credit card and you need the money to come in, etc. The whole point was, is he ready to move into something else? But the guy sort of found the perfect combination, so he was very pleased with himself. In fact, he sent me a note the other day. Yeah.
So we're going through this huge expansion plans, and you've got new offices, haven't you, around the corner coming up down in the old Centre Court?
So Centre Court, which is now called the Quarter. So it's a shopping centre in the middle of. So it's just about to be fitted out. We wanted to see something that reflected the kind of culture of 19, which is more playful, it's more creative, disruptive. So we've actually got an HQ in the middle of a shopping mall, and it's super cool. And we've gone to Gymshark's designers, who designed their HQ, with the brief is, number one, when you walk in, you have to go, wow. So we'll say, you've got to walk in and go, wow, and it's got to look better. Sorry, I know this is going to go out on, it's got to look better than Gymshark's HQ. That was the brief to the designers, and that's what we think we have achieved. So this entire building here is 9,500 square feet. The new HQ is 20,000 square feet on one floor. We've got sunken gardens, we've got a wellness centre, we've got TEDx theatres, games room, we've got a blow bar, as in hairdryers.
You got a gym?
So we've got a gym opposite, third space is opposite. We've got a coffee shop, and, Jules, when you come in, we've got the coffee shop with a big jumbotron. And then you come through a Jumbotron and you follow the aisle through this like enormous city, down to the back, through a lit up tunnel into a TEDx theatre. And that's where we'll do our town halls that we call 19 exchanges. And so the whole thing, it's not an office, it feels like an event. It's an event. And we wanted an environment where people are not told to come in, they genuinely want to. It's a community space.
Although people will go, oh yeah, that's wanky, they'll also be a little bit jealous about it because it's a great thing to have. So it's easy to discard that. So yeah, so you've gone through this, you got the new office coming, you've made, God knows how many acquisitions. How many in the last year?
8.
8 acquisitions, can you remember them?
Can you name them? Come on, Alison.
The Painting and Decorating Show, PIFA, Plantworks, CV Show, Leeds Summit, Sub Summit, Payment Association, Reliability Web. There we go.
There you go, wow.
8. We've done 17 since we formed the business. So everyone thinks we're a buy and build platform, and that's all we've done. But actually we've grown organically at 25%. So we've not just been about buying a load of stuff and growing that way. And we've done lots of launches. We did 3 launches last year. We've got 2 this year, 3 next year. So we've launched a lot.
Do you have a formula for launching?
It's rough in that we will, after 3 months, have a go, no-go date, and everyone will say, oh, it's coming, it's coming. And if you can't see about 30% of the revenue after 3 months, then stop.
Definitely. Have you stopped stuff that you, I want to do that?
We've had the odd one where we've let go for 4 months, but we have stopped doing stuff, yeah.
When you launch as a founder entrepreneur, it's literally you do things on a shoestring. And it's just, and you hope somehow it works. Yeah. Is it cutting all the corners, doing stuff yourself? Maybe just one speaker in the AV theatre will have to do for now.
Okay, so you've got a kind of broad idea for launches, and you're fairly strict.
Yeah, fairly strict. We'd never go to 6 months and go, after 6 months, it's coming, definitely. Okay, but 3 months is ideally, and most of our launches are either the geo-adapts or they're the kind of an adjacency rather than launching into a brand new sector. Yeah, so that tends to be a bit
So what sectors are you focusing on going forward, do you think?
Built environment, safety and security, technology, and advanced manufacturing.
There you go.
I can do that because it's 4. I can't do 8.
So are you launching and buying into those markets?
So in and around those 4 core sectors. So we keep the business really, really clean, so that when we do come to the end of season 2, going into season 3, it's a really easy business to understand for investors. Those 4 core sectors, but that's not to say if something else came up that was magnificent, that we may not open a new leg of the business. But for now,
But that would be a whole new sector, and you'd have to go heavy into that.
Yeah, but it would have to be B2B.
Do you want something spicy?
Of course.
So the plan is obviously to sell to the next private equity house. That's how it works. You just keep on going up the chain. Because in each cycle of private equity deals, you're expected to double the size of the business. So, and you get to a point where your EBITDA, your profit, gets to an extent where you're into the 100, 150 million. How'd you double that? Where'd you go? Who'd you buy? Whereas when your EBITDA, your net profit, is in the tens of millions, so like 20 million, it's quite easy to think we could just add another 20 million to the business. So normally the expectation is you go through 4 or 5 rounds of PE, then I think it's either a trade buy or an IPO. So we're in round 2, we're going into round 3 at the end of 2027. So ideally, private equity, so remain independent as we have been, just more capital behind us. But I remember being approached by this lovely Canadian lady called, I can't mention names, I'm not going to say Brenda Gordon, from Reed. And she said, yes, she said, we'll probably just buy you. And I joked with her. I was joking. And I said, look, Brenda, let's be clear. I am never working for you. And she said to me, oh, don't worry, we'll fire you. So who knows who the next buyer, it may be a trade buyer, but preferably we'd like to keep on rowing our own canoe, wouldn't we?
Our preference is to stay around and do another round of private equity.
Yeah. When are you going to have enough, though? At some point, or not?
When to stop enjoying it.
Private equity's made quite a lot of people rich in the exhibition market. But actually, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to do it every day. And you're kind of taking a lot of risk. You're employing a lot of people. The time to stop is when you're not enjoying it. But we're still enjoying it.
Because obviously you hear, besides the equation with private equity, it's on one hand, it's fantastic that, that the cash it releases into the business, and then you're a big player and you're playing on a different playing field, really. On the other side of things, disgusting taskmasters who ruin your life.
So here's an advert, right? Because we've got to drop in Phil Saw, because if we don't, he'll watch this and he'll go, never mention me once.
That's right.
I'll get the email, the link, going, you never mentioned me once. Anyway, so we're going to mention Phil Saw.
Yes, we are.
So we've gone 2 rounds with the same private equity house because they are genuinely brilliant. And to be fair to Phil, it was Phil when we first started back in 2017 looking for what if we did go private equity. He said, go and meet all the private equity houses and then just do a deal with Phoenix because they get it and they're brilliant. And that's what we did. So I talked to some...
Oh, so you talked to loads, but you already knew.
Talked to loads,
Right.
talked to the advisors. All the advisors always say the same thing. Oh, your mummy bear's hot porridge, you're really hot. Loads are going to be interested. So we spoke to many and then just did what Phil told us to do, which was just do a deal with Phoenix.
And are they good?
I think we got lucky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, they'd invested in Closer Still, and probably got out a bit too early. And so they get it. Kevin Keck, the senior partner, loves events. So you're not in a room having to say, well, we've got space only in Shell scheme and we've got yield, retention, blah, blah, blah. They get it, and they've been massively supportive.
Okay.
And we're attractive to them. We've got big margins, I know friends who are working private equity backed businesses in other sectors. It's tough. You do hear horror stories where the management gets cleaned out and the equity is underwater. But in events, it's really attractive for private equity investors.
Yeah.
And actually, even those that are backed by the big players like Providence and Blackstone, they've had a generally good time. It's unlocked a lot of growth.
What drives you now? What drives both of you now? I mean, that really drives you. I mean, it's okay. I get that you're happy and you're enjoying your job and you've built this wonderful culture and you get on. But actually, personally, really, what drives you personally, honestly?
Actually, so I just correct that because it's still about being happy. I wasn't happy. So last year, 19 had its best year on record. 25% organic growth. We launched 3 international shows and bought 8 businesses. So the business was absolutely tremendous. And for me personally, it is probably my worst year personally. Because it had grown to a point, Jules, where we're 315 people today with 5 offices all over the world. It's not what I wanted to do. And about halfway through last year, I had a combination. I was burnt out and just not enjoying it. I was just turning up and just doing the day-to-day chief executive role and trying to stay across globally, operationally, such an enormous organisation, with these days a bit more process, a bit more structure, never corporate. We never did a C-bomb here, but it was just growing into something that I just didn't recognise anymore. And I remember when you first started, Alison, I described you as being out of your depth. Out of the depth in a sense, there was no depth to swim. Because when we were first looking for an MD back in 2018 to run the company, I said to Phil Saw, I'm going to phone Alison Jackson. And he said, oh, there's no point. I said, why is there no point? He said, not big enough. She's running maps, she's doing it. So I said, but Phil, one day it will be. So, and when you first started, and it was like a dirty dozen in a cupboard and your desk was on the recycling bin, to be fair, there was just no room to operate. And as we've grown to 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, I've just seen as the depth open up, it gives Alison the space to do what she does so brilliantly. And the more she's thrived in that enormous depth of ocean, the more and more I've been out there like wading, trying to just keep my head above water. This is just not me, Jules.
And that's quite interesting. Were you out of your comfort zone then, quite seriously coming? Because
When I joined?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I asked for my money back, yeah.
She did. She went to the investors, just for the record, to the investors and asked for her money back.
That's fantastic.
So
Yes.
So
And then they interviewed another CEO. Bastards.
I did turn up on day one in the cupboard, it had been photographed with a wide-angle lens. So when I arrived, I was thinking, shit, what have I done? And several people had told me not to invest. Oh, don't you invest in money with Peter? It's like completely, it's to be a joke. And then we had 2 shows, 12 people, a publishing business. And I used to go to the publishing business in East Grinstead twice a week just to get away from him.
Yeah.
So he's like on top of every bit.
Right.
And at several meetings, I would just put my book across and go, you do it, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
And then he would say to me, well, it's not how we do it around here. So I just thought, I'll just go to Phoenix and say, can I have a refund?
Really? Oh, that's brilliant.
There was no water for me to swim in at all.
Right.
And
I hear that.
And we had our first show in April, I remember April the 5th, 2019, and it was all right. It wasn't brilliant, it was all right. And I thought, do you know what? This might be okay. And I wasn't getting my money back anyway, so I might as well stay.
Yeah. So Aaron, we didn't finish. You say happiness, but I want to come back on that. What drives you? What really drives you?
I would say, so I spent a long time trying to have a child. I've got one. I love her, even though she's a testing teen. I just love inspiring young people, girls and boys.
Okay.
And actually, it's great seeing real talent develop. And you've got to give something back, haven't you? So at some point, someone would have helped me do what I can do now. You know, someone to be at home going, do you know what, my boss or someone I work with has taught me this, and that's what drives me.
It's just having a balance, and it's just broadly enjoying. Everyone's got to deal sometimes with a bit of shit, but broadly enjoying what you're doing. And about halfway through last year, I was just trying to stay alongside Alison across all the operational aspects of the business. My worst fear is being called by the investors and asked a question. I don't know the answer, and I'm supposed to be the CEO. And at the same time, Jules, also staying across the acquisitions. And it was about halfway through last year, I thought to myself, I can't do this anymore. And I nearly walked away from the business I love. And that set off a series of discussions that created an output, which was probably long overdue anyway. Alison's been running the business since day dot, day-to-day managing it. Has formally recognised Alison as the chief executive. She's always been born to do.
Absolutely.
And for me, the group CEO just means take me out of the operational day-to-day.
Okay.
Just remove me out of anything operational day-to-day.
You've been fired again? I don't know. It's just that.
I don't know. Comments below.
You're great award winners and great award entries, and I think that's brilliant, by the way, for us, for the industry. You get right behind it. Talked to Phil about it before, and he's a serial award winner, so you've got, you'll want to be. But tell me why. Tell me why that is. Why you think awards are important. You do internal awards. And I've got my own views on it, but tell me what's.
I think people love winning awards, and it's. If you think about something like the AO Awards, the AO Awards are great. I'm on the AO board as full supporter, but it's really hard to win Trade Show of the Year. Really hard, It's almost impossible, isn't it? Right. So you've got to enter as many awards as you possibly can. It's a numbers game, right? So do we deserve to win more awards than anyone else? Possibly not. We just enter a lot, And it's a bit, I know sometimes people sit with their arms folded, going, look at they've won again. But you've got to have somebody internally who believes in it. Get the dates and then just go, actually, let's just focus on that this year, but let's enter as many as we can. Sometimes your award entry is not good enough. Sometimes, but if you... It's
subjective in the end, isn't it? And I just don't know any other way to do it. And everybody talks about different ways. Have we got a formula?
We've got M.I.C.E. Law writes most of ours. She doesn't do it with AI. She writes it herself. Yeah. I've judged many, and I can tell they're done by AI. Straight away. Yeah. And I like them that says, look, 5 points for this, 3 points for this. It gives you structure, then you can see, well, they didn't do that, so it's dead easy. But I think you've got to enter a lot. But at the end of the day, people love winning awards. They love it. They do. And actually, whether it's teams, a product, an individual, they love it. I think when you go in, I think it does add value.
And to investors as well, surely, I would have thought. I mean... Yeah.
Well, because the investors, when they're looking around at what's their next target, will do their research. And if they can see you're a multiple award winner, it's not bad for the file. Yeah.
Let's say you go away for a weekend and you're in, I don't know, somewhere you don't know, back end of Norfolk or whatever, and you say, all right, there's 3 little restaurants in the town. There's this one, this one, this one. This one's an award winner.
You go to the award winner, yeah.
Of course you do. You do, don't you? Your natural instinct is, well, we'll try that one first.
Yeah, and we've had some nights we've gone, right, we're going to take our ball back. We're not entering next year. Yeah. And then you kind of it comes around to the deadline day, and of course all our people want to enter, and as long as they want to enter, then we will enter with balls on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great validation for your people. And those people that go up and collect one of your awards, when they come back to the table and they're taking, the photo with the award, that's going to their mum, their dad, their friends. Mum number one. You remember when Stephen Phipson won the Manufacturing Top 100 award? And I said, this is the chief executive of M.I.C.E UK. He won't mind me saying this. And he came back with his award and he took a selfie and I saw it. It's like went to his mum.
you see, the thing is, lots of organisers play the game and say, oh yeah, the suppliers are the heartbeat of our industry, but do they mean that? Because none of that. Because when we do the supplier awards, I try and get organisers there and say, come along and just come along and be there. Yeah. None of them are interested. And I kind of think, well, do you really mean it? Or are you just saying that to keep everybody sweet?
Suppliers and venues, you have to coexist well with them. You can't beat them up. You know, you have to. They can make or break an event. So we should be getting behind them.
Definitely make it and then break it down.
Getting behind or staying pendulum? Everybody talks about partnerships, etc., etc. I don't know if anyone ever really means it. There are. I mean, I've found Excel to be really good because they're run by ex-organisers. Laurie's obviously excellent up at Manchester, ex-organiser. When you have ex-organisers running the venue, it's way better, way better. But, you know, I think some of the other places still have work to do. I'm allowed to say that. You probably don't want to say that, yeah.
So it's an odd business, isn't it, in the UK? It's an organiser, venue, and supplier. You have got to get on with each other because they can bring down your event. Something goes wrong with the venue, something goes wrong with the supplier, you know, and it's very, we can control what we do wrong. We can't control what they do wrong. So it's got to be a partnership, I think.
How many times over the last 3 decades have you been at a show on build-up and it's getting about 5, 6 p.m, like the night before the show, and you look at it and you go, how can this ever be ready?
No, it's true.
Oh my God. But then you turn up the next morning, 7:30 a.m, it's all beautifully vacuumed, it's pristine.
I think that's the thing, the good contractors and the good suppliers, of which there are many in this country, really do know what they're doing. But they also add,
And have bailed me out of several situations.
Oh, absolutely.
So I always say pick a battle with a venue, pick a battle with a contractor, because when you really need them, and I've got lots of examples where particularly GES in the EMAT days have bailed me out of what could have been big disasters on the bigger shows.
I agree with that, AJ, but my problem with that is that I do feel that it is that slight eggshell relationship, and none of us really want that. What we'd really like is to stamp on all the eggshells and say, can we not have an honest chat? That's really pissed me off, but I don't want to fall out about it because I still think you're great, but I've got to be allowed to say, haven't I? But we all do get a bit of, how far do I push it? The NEC's put another charge on. How much do I moan about that? Because I need do you know what I mean?
But also pick your battles, because quite often it's, the battles down here are kind of,
not worth. Yeah,
in ops going, sort of in the operations team, and you kind of go, that's not really. I thought the scheme of what's gone on in this event, it's not. And then so they're moaning to the venue, and you're kind of going, no, I'm not necessarily worried about that. Yeah. But pick the battle. Don't moan about everything, because we also make mistakes.
Now tell me, I want to talk about your post. I do, because now I tell you why. It's because you're an anomaly, and in the sense that you're so self-deprecating, which is so warming and easy to talk to. And you really are, you're very self-deprecating. And yet when you post about this kind of wonderful, how brilliant everything is. And I think that's not who you are. And I'm asking, why do you do that?
Until more recently, the insecurity that if I post something that's not positive, that it might be the beginning of a downfall. And funnily enough, that's come up in my therapy about the posting. And he said to me, you need to own it, be accountable for what you're doing. Yeah, so, and these things always root back to your childhood. So I was abandoned by my mother in my childhood, and she's still alive and she might watch this, fuck it. But yeah, so 11 says, and just left, says abandoned. And we kind of like found out through therapy, it all roots back to that, Jules. So I've got abandonment issues, and I spent the rest of my life just with a great fear of never being seen. So a lot of what I've done, starting in LinkedIn, I never realised this, is just a constant, like a daily need just to be validated. I'm just seen.
But that does the opposite in a way. So I want you to change LinkedIn because you're such a big voice on it, and there's too many people who have followed suit. And they go on about, oh God, I'm so surprised to find out how brilliant I was. And the thing is, We want LinkedIn to be this exchange. Of course, when people change jobs or make an acquisition or win an award, yeah, of course. But I'm not saying, but you know, you have set this stall out, and because you're such a successful and visible figure, you see all these people coming in behind you. You think it's okay now to say, oh, da, 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 and then they're liked by people, and you know it's all bullshit. All of it is bullshit.
So, an honest counter to that is that never, and I can hand on heart, ever say that one of my posts is ever bullshit. So,
Not the post, the liking, everybody liking it is bullshit. I'm not saying the post is bullshit, but everybody pretending to like it. No, they're not liking it. That's bullshit. They're just playing a political game.
always a positive side, but always a fear of posting anything that's actually not positive, in case that's the beginning of, oh, that's not very good. Oh, should we question 19? Should we question Peter?
I get that. But your self-deprecation is actually way more powerful, and because it actually shows how confident you are. And actually, like I said, you're not like that. You're both really self-confident people, and I don't think you need that. But I mean, you're hugely successful, and it's so warming for other people to hear. Okay, yeah, I've screwed up a number of times, and yeah, there might have been a mistake. Well, right, on we go.
Jules, we've got to a point now in our round 2 cycle where I think if they sack me, I'll still keep my shares.
Exactly, so you're all right. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Tell me, well, before we go, tell me this. I want to know, because you've had this roller coaster. Is there any big, like, nightmares you've had? Like,
Apart from COVID.
Yeah, well, COVID, obviously, but that wasn't your fault. I mean, like, ones where you've gone, oh, we made an absolute horror show of that.
So we're going to one tonight. So and I guess that's also on LinkedIn. We bought this, we bought that. Oh my God, the 19's another acquisition, 3 and you don't actually share the howlers. So we did do a howler. So we bought a business in the multiples millions, and we sold it back for £1. There you go, I said it, I got it out. So we bought an amazing business that had been around for over 20 years, run by an amazing couple who have been around a very long time in the cyber world. And I'm not going to use the word arrogant, but we were just too ambitious and naive, too ambitious to think we can get a hold of this that's been run for over 2 decades by this couple that have got an incredible network in cyber, and we can do this and we can do that and we can grow it and we spin off and we geoclone, the usual, PE playbook. And we got about a year into it, and it was just, we realized that what we bought was so incredibly special, and we were trying to change it. It's like somebody like flying a Spitfire magnificently well, and we're going to his event at the RAF Club tonight. So magnificently well, and think we can jump in the cockpit because we're F-35 pilots, and we'll do this much better than you can. And actually, you can't. There's a spirit of a Spitfire. There's a spirit of this business that was great for me.
Okay, good lesson.
And it's a good lesson. So last year, we got to a point where we had a decision that we either close it or
invest heavily.
And just keep going with even more clout and more force, or just give it them back. So we gave it them back for £1.
Oh, I love that, actually.
Not all our launches work.
Have you got a howler? Come on.
International Disaster Response
No,
Expo.
that's my show. That.
You might not even be here at 19, but in your career, have you had a moment of...
Loads, absolute loads. So I famously got the E.M.A.C.E board to pay 17.5 million for Mark Maloney's professional beauty business.
Oh my God, yeah, and you sold that back from...
And I was the person who did the presentation, and why is Mark selling it? He's fallen in love, he's going to South Africa. What I didn't know is he just wanted to get his mum out of the business and go to South Africa for a bit, come back.
See, it's always a mum thing. It always roots back to the mum. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, and about 3 years later, E.M.A.C.E sold it back for slightly more than £1, but not much more.
Yeah, I actually thought he'd paid 2 million, which only like £1.
No, it might have been 2 million actually.
I think he paid 2 million because I think I saw him shortly after. He obviously couldn't contain his absolute glory.
That's a net profit of 15 million.
That's bad, is it? Extraordinary event in the industry generally. How big that got hyped?
Sold for 51 million.
51? Mental.
Actually, you said 51. Because I remember your bloody copy of Exhibition News landing on a kitchen table at home, and Vicky, my wife, saying, "Oh, I wish I'd married David Wood." That's so great.
But it was just sold at its highest watermark, and I did stop it going back slightly, but it was a disaster. It was one of those stories that everyone should listen to about how when an acquisition doesn't go. But I didn't make the acquisition, I was just sent in to sell it.
I didn't see it on your CV.
I did make the professional beauty acquisition, which also I've taken that off of my CV.
Well, I tell you what, but they're generous giving it back. And the other way I just want to end is to thank you also for your generosity. You're fantastic supporters of the One Day at Christmas initiative. And
It's a great legacy.
thank you.
You can go to your grave, not quite yet, but no,
No.
that's
Well,
one of the best things our industry's done.
oh, that's really sweet of you to say. I think it's, but you're all brilliant, and it's just perfect for our industry, though, isn't it? That event encapsulates what we are, and I do thank you for it.
And Jules, I'm going to bat it back to you because thank you, and thank you, Mash, for everything you do for the industry, because you are a uniter. You're a glue of this industry, which is why when you did that very naughty post on suppliers, I know you didn't mean it. You're just trying to stir up a point.
Stir up a point, of course, but there are ones that over there that do need a little bit of a lesson. Most of them here are fantastic.
Yeah. So no, thank you to Mash Media.
Well, thank you, guys. I've really enjoyed that. I hope you did.
Really enjoyed it.
Fun.
Thank you, guys.
As
Very
it
good.
always is,
Yeah.
chat to you.